shit. Welcome to Politics as Usual, episode. I guess this will be 44. Or are we designating this episode number?
Yeah, we can like number this episode. Yeah, so it'll be 44, I think.
Episode 44, the George Gervin episode. I almost said Jerry West, but then I'm like, it's Negro Solstice. Be wrong to elevate a white man.
Bring your white shooting guard.
Don't bring your white shooting guard. George Gervin, we can't even say Jim Brown coon ass neither.
Because he ain't getting no powers. He ain't getting no powers today, bro.
No powers.
Don't bring that nigga.
The 5th annual Kids Wear Crowns Album of the Year episode, 3rd annual for Politics as Usual. We started doing this in 2016.
We did. Yeah.
On Don't Call the Podcast. Yep, that was the inaugural run of this shit. To think all of this came from someone putting together a really bad list of the top 20 Cartoon Network cartoons. Like that's how this whole thing started. We were like, that list is trash, and then it's evolved all the way into this shit. So I'm here, Fee is here, Ronnie is here. Me and Ronnie off of our 3rd podcast in 4 days.
Yeah, I mean we do it for the people though. That's why we do it.
I mean, considering we won't be back on for like another 2 weeks, we sacrifices can be made. We've done this format a little differently a few times. Normally we bring 10 albums and we talk through them. 2018 we did a panel. Fee, Josh from Club Monster, and Bryson and Sky all came through. And last year we kind of went back to our normal thing where we listed. So this year we kind of wanted to do a hybrid. So we didn't do the lengthy poll or anything this time. Pause. We just decided to if someone like watching, I don't want that to go viral. We didn't do the Google Doc thing this time or the form that the elaborate form that Ronnie put out for 2018. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a few people come on and they're gonna give us their top 5, and we might talk through them, and we'll probably read off some tweets that were sent to us of people who sent us in their albums because we want this thing to kind of be inclusive. We know all of our musical tastes are very varying in a lot of ways. So this is a good way to not only big up some albums that you might expect, but also maybe put you onto some albums that you didn't know existed. We gonna read somebody off, or we gonna invite somebody in.
So we can read off, like, matter of fact, I'll just share the screen. I think that'll be easiest. So I'll share the screen of like all the tweets we received. Okay. And then after that we could just go through and read off some of our guest choices. So I'll start with the first one. I'm seeing a lot of love for Stove God Cooks already. So
hey man, Stove God Cooks, man, most improved player, man, 6th man of the year.
So yeah, this is released. Queen V. She had D Smoke, JoJo. Forgot to check out the album. I've heard good things. Ungodly Hour, Kiki, The Unknown by Jonathan Taylor, and The Gospel According to PJ Morton. All right, we're gonna skip.
Joe will be on here later in the episode, so we don't need to read his off.
So Captain Cheez-It, shout out to that name.
Captain Cheez-It.
The year we're having the Cheez-Its Bowl, no less.
East Tumor, Heaven to a Tortured Mind, The Weekend After Hours, Thundercat, It Is What It Is. I guess that's live. Couldn't wait to tell you. Rina Sawayama. Oh shit. So Sawayama, yeah. And the name of the album is Sawayama. And then Forever Your Girl. We gonna interesting list. I'll check those out because a lot of names catch my attention. So Muse, Tiana Taylor, Amine, Pooh Cosby, Chloe and Halle, and J-Elect Yamaka.
J-Elect Hanukkah.
J-Elect Troubadour.
Elect Muhammad Salamaka was, I don't know what the fuck he said after
So
that.
Ahmed Brizo, Stove God Cooks, Reasonable Drought. If nothing else,
That's definitely the best album title.
Best album title of the year.
Reasonable Drought.
Brody James. The Price of Tea in China. Freddie Gibbs, Alfredo. Conway the Machine, Lulu. Let's see if we have some more. Our boy Club Monster. Yeah, shout out to Josh Club Monster. Love More. Motion. Sebastian Cole. No, DeLorean. Laura Block Me from the Cold. Fire album title. I gotta check that out.
That is a fire album title.
Yeah, let me add that to my stuff right now.
Freddie Gibbs, Alfredo.
Shout outs to the love that Josh continues to. I'm assuming that's Josh continues to show the Birmingham people out there, because Love More's project is actually really good. I didn't check out Sebastian's.
So this is Trio Russell, Freddie Gibbs, Alfredo, Deontay Hitchcock, Better, Benny the Butcher, Burden of Proof, Chloe Holly, Ungodly Hour, Little Baby, My Turn, Giveon, Take Time, Reason, New Beginnings. All right, let me pause and say this. It didn't make my list, but that Reason album is actually pretty good. And you hear, and I'm not like saying he's like a TDE ghostwriter, but you could definitely hear like the TDE influences on this album, like the vibe and like a lot of those album sessions, they definitely come from Reason. So you can hear that on this album, but at the same time, he's not quite as good as a Kendrick or Schoolboy Q, but you can hear the influences there. But back to this list on Flo Milli, Ho, Why Is You Here? Once again, another great album title. Brent Fires, Fuck the World, Westside Gun, Pray for Paris. That was a very diverse list. Shout out to him. Guru Chillin', Burden of Proof, Benny the Butcher, Don Toliver, Heaven or Hell, Westside Gun, Pray for Paris, Dua Lipa, Future Nostalgia, Tame Impala, The Slow Rush.
That young man was listening to a lot of coke raps this year.
Yeah. A lot of coke raps. And this is Lee, Rock, the Sharecropper's Daughter, Aesop Rock, Spirit World, Field Guide.
So as much as we give Lee grief about him hating everything, him having only 2 albums on here is totally on brand. Lee only having 2 albums and having the hashtag of Lee hates everything is the most on brand thing that's done involving this podcast. Since we got cool with him. So that is funny. I would have figured he would have thrown Lupe's the House EP on there. Or the tape, even though that was only 2 tracks.
I didn't like that tape.
Yeah, it was cool. It was all right. All right. So, y'all want to run through our honorable mentions, or we gonna bring somebody on? Is Kyle waiting in the wings?
No, Kyle.
You can read Joe's off.
Kyle said he's not in the mood to come on, so I got his list. I also have Joe's list, but all right. I'll start with Joe. Just Joseph Hicks, not Joe Cole. His honorable mention is Live, How I'm Feeling. And then he has Alina Baraz. I'm not sure if I'm saying these people right because I've never heard of
Alina Baraz.
Alina Baraz, it was Divine. Then his top 5, at 5, he has 2 Chainz, So Help Me God. He says he may have had some recently biased, but it goes hard. Number 4, he has St. John, While the World Was Burning. I need to check that out. I haven't got into that yet. At 3, he has Weekend, After Hours. At number 2, he has Pop Smoke, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. And at number 1, he has Currency, Director's Cut.
Okay.
Diverse list.
I listen to too much Sirius XM and Pandora to know which albums are the best. But I did like the Lil Baby album. So that's where I'm at with my list. There are a lot of great individual songs that came out this year, but I had a hard time putting it together like a list. So there were like a lot of great like songs like on their own, but in my opinion, not a lot of great projects.
See, I totally disagree. I had trouble narrowing my down to 10. I had like 15, 16, 17 on my.
I said the same. I had about 15 projects that I went back and forth through. And a lot of new shit that y'all put me on because I don't really listen to the same shit that y'all listen to. So, I got Kyle's list. He has Royce's project. I don't know the name of it, but he has Royce. He has Benny the Butcher.
The allegory, I think. Yeah, the allegory.
He has Benny. He didn't say which project.
Probably Burden of Proof, I would assume.
He has Westside Gun, Pray for Paris. This nigga Kyle is listening to a lot of Coke raps.
A lot of Coke raps as well.
Conway the Machine, From a King to a God, and then Nas and then Nas
Murder rap.
All right. Way more hip hop than my list.
Steve said he wanted to come on. I gave him a list, but I don't know what he's doing with it. So,
I mean, you know, Steve. If he wants to pop on, he can.
Yeah, he definitely on CP time. So,
just be prepared to mute Steve because Steve is outlandish. Steve is definitely out. Royce from Dayton, Obi Toppin. Come on.
Yo, man, never mind, bro. Come on, bro.
That's the wrong Midwest city beginning with the D.
Bro, all I'm gonna say is, like, that was the most clout chasing shit I ever seen, bro. And I'm just gonna leave it at that, bro.
Wait, what happened?
He made a song called Obi Toppin, and he released it on draft night. Like, no, bro.
Is Obi Toppin from Detroit?
No, Obi Toppin went to UD. He got drafted by the Knicks, but he released it on draft night. But it's like,
I was asking why he making a song called Obi Toppin?
Yeah. Just because he was putting on for UD, but that man is from New York. He's not from the city, bro. Like, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, that's some clout chasing shit, bro. That's my opinion, bro. That's just how I feel.
Wait, who did that? Who did that?
Nigga Royce Johnson. I
thought you meant Royce the 5'9". I was like, wait, that's why I was confused. Like, why would Royce the 5'9" do that? Like, what is he?
Why would he release a song called Obi Toppin?
No, he's talking about a nigga we went to school with.
We went to school with, bro.
All right, that makes more sense because I was totally confused. I'm like, wait, that don't even like Royce the 5'9" ain't even a rapper who makes. And by the way, I'm really mad that the song named after a nigga thing like has carried over past like 2012. I thought that shit was gonna stop then.
Yeah, but let's stop that.
It continues on. Like it's very rare. They're very rarely good. Like it's just lazy songwriting.
Hey, Rick Ross was probably the best at it to me.
Yeah, like I wish it would have stopped when he stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple good ones.
I think we got our one of our first guests.
Oh, the nigga Steve.
Hey man, back up from the camera.
Yeah.
Dog.
Every time Albert speak, I can't. AJ speak, I can't really hear him.
Back up from the camera, man.
What's good, bro?
What's going on, dog? How you? Let me adjust my sound in here. You hear me better now, man?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I was hearing something different. That's perfect.
Nah, you good, man. This is our boy, Steve Phillips, aka Philly. We have known him since what, like 96 or 97?
Junior high.
Yeah, for a little minute.
Very, very long time. Trotwood, Ohio's own. So yeah, man, give us your top 5 albums of this year.
All right, I'm gonna go to my notes. I want to down my notes. I'm gonna give them to y'all real quick when my kids come back in.
I feel like that's a common struggle these days.
Facts.
So my top 5, I got y'all want to I'm gonna just do my 5. That Burden of Proof for Benny Butcher. Meet the Woo 2, Pop Smoke. The Weekend After Hours. Drake Lane demo tapes. Yep, I said it. And then 2 Chainz, So Help Me God. They'll stay in my. They'll be right there.
All right, man.
I'm honestly surprised you didn't have Gunna or Young Thug in there because I know you like them as your
man. Hey, my first time on the podcast, I'm like, I'm gonna leave them all because that's all I listen. I like the music, but the albums, that's a different story. Game on.
Okay.
All right, man. Appreciate you joining us. Thanks for your listening.
Losing again.
I don't know why you root for them, man. Save yourself the trouble. Get off that narcotic, bro.
Get off that narcotic, bro.
All right, man. All right. Seeing a lot of love for Benny, a lot of love for the week. Actually, no, Kev, this is bourbon. I'm not drinking yak. He is on the yak. There's a bottle of that on my top shelf, but I ain't touching it. Yeah, a lot of love for Benny, a lot of love for the weekend on here. Kind of keeping an unofficial tally as we go of what the people are saying.
Yeah. I'm trying to like I'm doing the same. Like I'm trying to build like a unanimous, like not a unanimous, but basically like okay, this is what everybody's feeling this year.
Right.
So I'm hearing a lot of Benny the Butcher, heard the weekend quite a bit.
A lot of Griselda, period. Like a couple Pop Smokes, but mostly Griselda is dominating right now.
Yeah.
It's a good look for them, man. I mean, especially since like each of their big three pretty much released 2 projects this year.
Mm-hmm.
Conway had 2, Westside had 2, 3.
No, Westside had 3.
Westside had 3, and then Benny had 2. One was a compilation, but still, like that's a lot of output, and it's quality output as well. Like it's not like watered down. Yeah. I mean, again, coke rap is my favorite subgenre of rap. Like it is, no pun intended, it's the most pure form of rap where you can talk that shit, and you have to do it well for it to sound good. Like you can't just like if you're gonna be repetitive and rapping about coke, you have to be creative about the shit, and that's why that's one of the reasons I love coke rap. All right, we got anybody else waiting in the wings?
No, I don't see anybody yet, so we could.
I guess we can tag Ryan in and let him know. But while he's doing that, I'll go through my I'll tag him. I'll go through my honorable mentions. So Floyd Fuji, Black Pontiac, Chris Anderson, Smile While You Can, Radiant Children, There's Only Being Yourself, Pablo Brown, Opaque, Alina Baraz, It Was Divine, and the Dirty Mac Don himself, Mario, Closer to Mars.
Call that man the Dirty Mac Don, bro.
You Should Let Me Love You is one of the greatest Dirty Mac songs of all time.
You enjoy being hurt.
Like how do you start off a song with that? Like you know how fed up a man has to be to like, yo, I don't understand. Like, do you enjoy this, right? Like you enjoy
man's is perplexed. Like you must like this. Like you must enjoy being hurt.
I know you smell the perfume, the makeup on the shirt.
I mean, because I smell it. So.
And you don't believe you know they're all lies. And you find it, you hear. I don't get it. That is a man that was fed up. Just Dirty Mac Don.
Yes.
Dirty Mac Don. Ryan will probably be on here in a second. He acknowledged my message. Anybody else got any honorable mentions? He said 1 second.
So this is before we hop into like the actual.
Oh yeah, I got some honorables.
Okay, so first of all, shout out to Monastery. Their album was really dope.
Yeah, Love More too. Shout out to her.
Yeah, I haven't listened to Love More, but I'll check it out. Some interesting things with the Spillage Village album. Didn't quite make my list, but there are some interesting tracks on there. Mostly Jid carried it. You know, I really like JID, so Jid carried the majority of the album. So Spillage Village would be honorable mention. And so yeah, that's what I got. Shout out to Monastery. Shout out to Spillage Village.
Monastery, another Birmingham group doing their thing. Our boy Smooth Side says Polo G for honorable. I don't even know who the hell Polo G is. I don't keep up.
Polo G is also in my honorable mention. So since he's from young guy from Chicago, since I brought him up. I got Little Durk just because y'all waited too. Polo G, the GOAT. I got Problem, Coffee and Kush Volume 1 and 2. And then I got Bodie James and the Alchemist, The Price of Tea in China to round out my honorable mention.
Bodie James on the come up, man.
Yeah.
Bodie James is on the come up. All right. I'm trying to think.
New is Griselda signing. He signed to Griselda now.
Yeah. Actually, funny enough, a dude I used to, back when Twitter was the Wild Wild West, a rapper from CT named Sholey, who I used to tweet with back in the day. He Benny shouted him out and said like he was waiting to sign him soon enough. So yeah, Zelda doing some things. So our boy Kyle, Reason got his honorable mention. Yeah, I gotta listen to Reason. I like Reason. I haven't really heard much of his music, but like when I've seen him like on interviews and shit, like I like the way he comports himself.
Yeah, because he's one of those. And I don't mean this like in a bad way. He's one of those like rapper. Like you could tell he one of the guys who prefers to be behind the scenes. Like he and like I said, once you listen to this album, you could tell that he's been in a lot of those TDE sessions. Like, nah, don't say it this way, say it this way, because he has like a lot of that like Kendrick, Schoolboy Q vibe. But it's not like he's biting. You could tell that's where the influence comes from.
Yeah, like my big thing with TDE is where the fuck have they been this year?
Oh, so it's like the worst kept secret in the world that
Black Hippie.
No, Kendrick is breaking off and starting his own label, PG Lang. Like a lot of people didn't know what that meant. So I'm assuming that there is like some contractual like legal stuff mixed in with that because he's taking his cousin Baby Keem and also Georgia Smith is allegedly signed to PG Lang and he's starting his own thing, but it's still going to be under Interscope. So I don't know how that works with like TDE, but I'm thinking that's why we haven't heard anything from TDE really.
Because initially, I know last year there were some rumors cropping up because somebody had found like an official Black Hippie subheading on all the streaming sites that it's like, oh, that might be a reason for all this radio silence from the big four of TDE. Maybe they're finally doing a Black Hippie album, but obviously not.
Nah.
And that's a shame. And people thought we were going to get the Kendrick J. Cole album, which at this point I don't really want because
I don't want it at this point.
J. Cole been mid for so long that I don't. Maybe that's what he meant by calling himself the middle child. That you know,
the mid.
He was staying committed to the mid, being a child of the mid. Look, I'm just saying.
Oh, bro, I mean. We've had this discussion many a times about J. Cole and his perceived lyricism, and it's just not, bro. The Sally Mae raps, bro. Just because that nigga raps about a middle class life and you can relate to it, that don't make it lyricism, bro.
Yeah, there's a lot I want to say about lyricism and everybody's so-called. Somebody said something wild about some verse being like, yeah, that's the definition of lyricism, and I went and Googled it, and I was like.
See, now I want to know what verse it was.
I'm not gonna say it because you're a fan of his, and I don't want to earn his ire. Oh no, I'm legit scared of this person. I would never want to disrespect him that way.
Oh, okay. That would be more curious.
I'll
put it
put
in the private chat. Drop it in the private chat. Because now I'm seriously curious.
And here go this nigga Ryan in the private chat.
Okay, well, yeah, he will kill you. Yes, he will kill you.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the song. Yeah. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I actually think dude is like musically talented, but somebody saying that was like textbook lyricism. I was like, no, it's not. And then somebody was like, well, you have to hear it rapped, and I'm like, no. If I have to hear it, then you're liking the delivery and the charisma, and that's a whole different aspect of MCing right there. That's like when people used to say Dane Cook was funny, and I'm like, oh, tell me a Dane Cook joke. And then they'd say it, and I wouldn't laugh. And they'd be like, "Oh, you have to hear him say it." I'm like,
"You just have to be there."
So no, Dane Cook is not. Dane Cook says things that are funny, but he does not say funny shit. Like it's like the DJ Clark Kent said. Ryan's in here, and we still stalling. DJ Clark Kent once said of Jay-Z versus Biggie, he's like, Jay said better raps, Biggie said raps better, and that, like, to me is like the thing that's happening now with people are liking the way that raps are said as opposed to the actual raps that are being said, which is fine, but you know, don't try to change the definitions of shit just because you like the people that are doing it.
Oh no, man!
There he is.
There he is. Finally.
With
I
the
was
little
changing
one.
outfits. I'm sorry, changing baby outfits.
I mean, you know, you're over here trying to be a father, and you know, and shit.
Trying to uplift your community and be an active father.
Ain't nobody tell you not to pull out. I mean, I probably did, but you shouldn't listen to me.
I don't think that would have changed anything, but that's a whole thing.
All right, so Ryan, Dane Cook is the Nickelback of comedy, except less. Hey man, white people hate Nickelback.
I do not understand it. Okay,
that's one thing I've learned being around white people is the motherfuckers hate Nickelback.
They hate Nickelback.
They are still successful somehow, some way.
And I don't know any black people buying Nickelback albums. I didn't know the ones buying Nickelback albums. So like, is Nickelback like? I can't think of a rapper with the same kind of thing, right? Where like everybody
you can,
huh?
Yeah,
there's no like for like comparison for what Nickelback is to white people. I'm sorry.
Is it maybe Eminem?
Nah,
because you at least know that white people love Eminem. Like they're
okay, yeah. No,
like I don't know any niggas that like Nickelback, and I don't know any white people that like Nickelback. It's just weird thing.
Nickelback is both hated but loved at the same time. They have a huge following, but everybody hates them.
Hey man,
yeah,
how did a song with Timbaland, and you would think that I would absolutely hate that. Not Nickelback, but Chad Kroeger did a song with Timbaland, and you would think that it'd be the worst thing in the world. But I actually find that song kind of fire, and I know y'all looking at me sideways, but damn,
I'm more looking at the fact that Timbaland did a song with Chad Kroeger sideways than I am for you, like, because Timbaland will make some shit hot even if you don't like the artist.
I don't understand why I like it, but I like it. It's called Tomorrow.
Yeah. R.I.P. But he did a whole album with Chris Cornell.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, give us your any honorable mentions and your top 5 albums of the year.
All right, this year was trash. I was really trying to find it was so bad that I have 2 EPs in my top 5. But
I have a lot of EPs in mine. So
okay. So as long as we can get away with it. My honorable mention, it goes a Lil Uzi Vert, Eternal Ataki. I was kind of messing with it, but we're grading on a curb here. So, you know, in any other year, it probably doesn't make my list, but because there was so little in 2020, and like I get it, right? This year is trash. So why not have music releases that are subpar? You know, I mean, it just kind of makes sense. So that's my only real honorable mention. Like this year was so bad that both CeeLo and Goody Mob as a unit put out albums, and I don't want anything to do with either one. Like I don't want to hear it, right? Like I don't want to hear Goody Mob struggle Cujo and Timo Hotep raps at me right now because I'm just outside of that age range. I just don't. I'm not really trying to hear it. So
you got the Hotep beard, man. You might be able to relate to it now.
My Hotep beard was worse during when the curls were out, when I didn't have a haircut. But I don't know, man. Like I tried, like I listened to the track with Andre and I listened to the track with Big Boy, and that was about the extent of what I was doing there. So let me start with my number 5. My number 5 is an artist that is not really that big yet. I don't know if they ever really will be, just because I don't think they have the right marketing. They don't have the right team to kind of get them where they need to be. But they have songs that I honestly could hear on the radio now. But his name is Bloody White. And it's kind of harder to find him because he pretty much is on the same scale as every white pop artist, if that makes sense, where it's just this mix of sort of EDM and a little bit of hip hop to it and a little bit of pop to it. It's really hard to explain, but the EP is called You'd Walk Right Over Me. Kind of cheating with this one because the EP has like 2 songs. It's a 6-song EP. 2 of the songs he had released in the prior year. So one song is called I'm sorry, only one he did. He released a song called Tongue Tied earlier this year, which I guess was a preparation for it. And there's another song on here called Nice Guys, which he released like 4 years ago. And then he like pulled it off all streaming like a year or 2 ago, and it showed back up for this EP. So, but it's just, I don't really know how else to describe it. My number 4, you want me to just go straight into it?
Yeah.
Just go straight there.
How do you pronounce their name as actually Division?
Yes.
Or DVS?
Yes, Division.
It's Abusing Her Feelings. Like I'm not the R&B is dying cat, but I think Division is one of like the better R&B groups of this time with what R&B is now. So I really enjoyed that album. Number 3 was one that kind of caught me off guard because I didn't think it was going to happen this year. Song Machine by Gorillaz, which was really good. Came out of nowhere. I was never really a Gorillaz fan growing up. Like I enjoyed the singles, but I never dove into the albums really until like the last 5 years. And so I was very happy because I did a rerun of all their albums again, like 2 weeks before this got announced. And then all of a sudden, boom, it was on streaming. They had a song with Elton John. I think they have a song where it's like, who is it? It's a really random combination. because Elton John is on the song with like. Hold on, I'm gonna find it because
I actually have this up. So they have Elton John and Black on the same song.
That's it. Yeah. So a lot of really random collaborations that just work really, really well. The Schoolboy Q one, which is probably my favorite song on the album. Yeah, Elton John and 6 Lack. They've got Earth Gang on the songs. They've got a couple different really good combinations. JPEG Mafia. So a lot of really good features that worked out.
Ronnie's Boy.
Number 2 is Open Mike Eagle, Anime Trauma and Divorce.
So your own album yet again.
My own album.
Your own album.
Okay. Anyway, this is one of those. I was debating between this and my number 1 because this album made me feel a lot of things because it's exactly what it says on the tin, right? It's anime references, it's trauma with him like unpacking emotional trauma, and he went through a divorce that was pretty quiet. Like he just kind of popped up one day and was like, or he kind of popped up with the album title and people realized that he was divorced.
So it's like my 2017, basically.
Yeah, like he kind of popped up that, and like even his closest friends, right? Like even some of his good friends did not know until he was like, "Yo, I'm doing a press run for this album." But it's just kind of him. Like the first 3 songs of this album to me it's probably the best run of any album this year that I've listened to. And because it's one thing that I've always liked about Open Mike Eagle is he's not afraid to take shots at himself in a way that's not corny, right? A lot of times when you have artists that kind of poke fun at their own selves, it's done in a corny and really sort of like intentionally comedic way. But he really does a good job of just kind of poking at the things that put him in a position. So Death Parade
would trying to hop on, let me know.
Death Parade is like is the opening song of the album, and it opens with my son just zoomed by behind me. He's using his superpowers. But Death Parade opens the album, and it's really a focus on kind of the trauma of his childhood that he never really dealt with, and how it kind of creates a cycle. Then it leads into Head Ass, which to me is probably the best song on the album, which is him again poking fun at his insecurities. Every time I drink or have some of C4 and I'm in super workout mode and y'all see me tweeting all caps, it ain't a secret, I overthink it, I overanalyze and tweak it. Like that whole line comes from that song. And then he had a really good single called I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a character from Bizarre Adventures, like Busi Arati or something like that. But to me, it's my favorite song of the year.
Oh, Bucciarati.
Okay. And then number 1 for me is another artist that I discovered this year, and I think she's absolutely phenomenal. She's like 24 years old. Do not watch her videos unless you're ready to go on an acid trip. But her name is Remy Wolf, and she has an EP called "I'm Allergic to Dogs."
Okay.
And so it's a really trippy EP, but it's very good. I'm
gonna add it to my list just because of the title.
I mean it's 6 songs, so it's worth just kind of listening to. But what really drew me into is she asleep? Are you asleep? Okay.
Yeah, little mama got the head not of death over there.
What really drew me into it is you know how you can watch a song on YouTube and all of a sudden you get the recommendations. And when you see the YouTube still, which I'm gonna pull it up so y'all can see it and see what drew me in. When you see the still of the video, you can be like, what the hell is this? It drew me in. I started listening to it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this song is amazing." Let me share my screen. Sorry. Chrome pad. Can y'all see it?
Oh yeah, that's trippy.
Yeah, it's super trippy. So like, in all of her videos are like that. It's that weird like we're on acid, et cetera, et cetera. So I would definitely recommend that for everybody. Remy Wolf, I'm Allergic to Dogs. If nothing else, Woo and Photo ID are the 2 absolute best songs on the album. So that's my 5.
Awesome. Well, hold on. Let me see if Chuck responded. If not, you can hang around while we go through our 10 through 6, unless the kids are keeping you.
Yeah. While you send that up, let me interject because you mentioned JPEG Mafia, and I said that there were like a lot of great individual moments this year. So I really like video game soundtracks, and one I really like is Ridge Racer 4, So he took a small 15-second clip of Ridge Racer 4 and created what's possibly one of his best songs. Because on his previous album, like if you don't know, he has a receding hairline. He said, I might get me a line, but that might make all my peers resign. Because it was like, if I get a hairline, it's over for y'all niggas. So he shaved during quarantine and he created a song called Bald, where he's making fun of himself. But it's actually fire because he's rapping over the Ridge Racer 4 beat. So go check that out if you haven't. The song is actually really fire. So go check it out if you haven't.
Oh, well, if that's the case, I'll have to tell you what my next project is about.
I really enjoy video game beat remixes, like because it's becoming
once again, Ryan, you'll enjoy my next project.
Good, because it's becoming less I don't want to say less niche, but it's becoming less of a sort of an embarrassing thing for people, right? To admit that they like video game soundtracks. And so for people to actually flip stuff now, especially songs that are especially games that are like music oriented, right? Like when you start talking about people, one of my favorite beats of all time is a flipped pair rapper to rapper beat. And yeah, so like I am glad and I can't wait for the next project, AJ.
All right,
hold on. Joe ready, so let me get him set up.
All right, Joe Code coming through.
But I do want to say one thing: if anybody's out there flipping video game music, go ahead and flip the Pokemon Sword and Shield soundtrack because that goddamn Eternatus beat is a fucking rapper, and
the streets need that.
Says the streets need it. So is that Spectrier beat. Okay, so the streets need it. I'm out.
Oh, that was a perfect transition. How did I pull that off? Perfect transition.
The legendary Joe Cole. What's going on, man?
What's up, guys?
Joe Hova
in the building with the spectacle on. All right, man. So give us your what would you come prepared with? I know you tweeted it, but we didn't say yours.
So that's what I came prepared with. So this year too, a lot of what I discovered was stuff from last year, like Snow Allegra's album. I didn't listen to that last year. I found it this year. Like the Georgia Smith album, like I found that this year. Like a lot of the stuff that I heard this year was from like a year or two ago, but I didn't really start listening to a lot of the stuff that came out this year until like the last like couple of months, a little bit over summer. So I would say my number 5 is the Tame Impala album, the Slow Rush. That album, I remember playing that before social distancing and stuff, and like I would take my kid to school and like on my days that I worked from home, I'd like just run that album the entire way there, the entire way back. It was so good. And so that's what my 5. Number 4 for me was Mac Miller's Circles, because it's the weakest of the last 3 albums from Mac, but it's still very heavy on the melody and the instrumental, which is what I loved about the direction he was going in before he passed. But you know, I don't think the project was complete because he passed. Like I think John Bryan did what he could to salvage it, but I don't think.
Yeah, I was gonna say like about that album, like because Mac Miller is one of my favorite artists. Like The Divine Feminine is one of my favorite albums of the last decade. Mm-hmm. The album missed his touch a little bit. In terms of some of the music, like you could tell some of the music wasn't his because it wasn't as groovy or as, you know, it didn't have that pocket that he had kind of started developing from the Divine Feminine into, you know, the last projects that he did. So that's the reason it wasn't on my list, but yeah.
Yeah. Cause for me, like I didn't listen to a whole lot of like stuff that came out this year. So it was just kind of like, you know, I didn't really start picking the stuff up until like the last month, but I remember listening to those 2 albums before like all this quarantine shit went down. So number 3 is that Currency and Harry Fraud, the Outrunners. Harry Fraud is just, my God, like he is such an underrated producer. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about too is that Rick Ross had a dope feature on that album, and he has a dope feature on the Alfredo album. Like he didn't drop a project this year, but he was just hitting home runs on his features all year long, which blew me away because like I haven't really cared about listening to Rick Ross rap in like 4 or 5 years. Like it just kind of all blended into me the last 4 or 5 years. So those verses stood out to me, and I thought that was really cool. My number 2 is West Side Gun. Fly God is an Awesome God too. I had never heard Annie Griselda music before that project, and then when I saw, I think it was AJ tweeting about cooking half a brick in the air fryer. I was like, okay, I have to find this. I have to listen to this. Like, who has the audacity to say that they cooked half a brick in the air fryer?
On a song called Michael Irvin, no less.
Yeah, on a song called Michael Irvin.
And shout out, yo, I tweeted this earlier, but for real, Stove God is the most improved hip hop artist of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember he went, like, I started doing research on him because I wanted to write something about him. And he went by, I think it was like Aaron Cooks or something like that, like a few years ago. And then he just kind of like fell off and fell back from the scene. And then he came back as Stove God. And he had 3 of the best verses of the year on that project. He said that Dope Fiend's arms were tied up like Ultimate Warrior. Like,
I think me and Emerald Lagasse should be the next verse.
The next verse is 2 songs side by side. I better work them.
They should. When Ashanti and Keisha Cole got canceled, that's what should have happened. Emerald and Stove God.
The man said, I was cooking for 3 days and then it rolls out the pot. Hole was on the box.
But look, I respect that he remembered he was on the clock, because a lot of us are like, I'm just gonna do whatever on the clock. I don't care.
Relatable coke raps. You don't find that everywhere. Most of us can't relate to selling coke.
Yeah, I really like. I went back and I listened to the Conway album, the one he did with Alchemist, and I thought that was cool too. And then listened to Ben's album with Hit Boy. I need to go back and give that another chance, because I wasn't really like in the right mood when I was listening to that. But yeah, those Griselda cats are like, they really make me appreciate coke bars again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Best most purest form of subgenre of rap right now is coke rap.
Which leads me to my number 1, which is Gibbs and Alchemist with Alfredo. Like, I haven't slept on Alchemist music, but Alchemist has now become the greatest producers of hip hop because of this album. Like, I can't believe what he was able to cook up with this album. And then Gibbs is just rapping his ass off. Like, I was never really big into Freddie Gibbs, just because I don't know, like, I never really got a chance to give him a chance, I guess, if that makes sense. But I was like, all right, well, let me check this Alfredo out. So it's literally one of the projects that hasn't left my phone in like a month. Like,
I need to listen to Gibbs. There's always been something off-putting to me about Gibbs, the way he raps. Like, I recognize there's talent there, but there's never been anything to like draw me into where it's like, yo, I want to listen to this dude. But as many people that I've heard talk about Alfredo, like, I definitely am gonna have to listen to that tomorrow.
When I think it was 18 when Gibbs and Currency dropped Fetty, like, that was fucking phenomenal right there. Gibbs was floating on that shit, and plus Gibbs always takes shots at Jeezy, and I just think that shit is hilarious. So that's
I do respect
alone.
Yeah, I respect the consistency of hating on somebody so much that you diss them every album. Like, I admire that. As a hater, I feel like that is, it's admirable.
We're now in territory of when Ross called Jeezy an F-boy 8 times on the same song. Like, we're now in that territory with Gibbs dissing Jeezy.
Another underrated moment. All right, Matt, you got any honorable mentions or anything?
Not really. I don't know. Music for me this year has been so weird. Like, it's just like, I feel like I've just been listening to a lot of the same stuff to kind of get me through the year, just because it was so terrible. So it's like going back and, basically music for me this year was comfort food. It was like going to all things that I know love, and just like, I really don't have the mental capacity to give new projects a chance for the most part. So
I've heard that from a lot of people this year. My cousin, who is a doctor of psychology, he teaches up at UVA. He said the same thing this year. Said that he didn't, and he's a music nerd. like down to he's in like a music fraternity, but like he was talking about how he only listened to the same stuff this year over and over again. And I think that's where a lot of people have been at. And I totally understand it. Like it's so hard to open yourself up to like, because music is energy. Like it's so hard to open yourself up to new shit with everything that is going on. So I think that's why so many, like me personally, like I feel like this year was a great year for music, but I understand why so many people feel like it was a down year for music, because a lot of people probably didn't feel like opening themselves up to listening to anything that was new. Like I think a lot of people were probably going back to stuff from last year, stuff that had withstood the test of time, or that you heard people talking about from long enough. Like you heard me and Chuck talking about Mac Ayers on the timeline for like the last year. So that was probably enough to be like, all right, well, they still listening to this dude. Let me go back and listen to his music. Which, by the way, he has an album coming out January 8th.
Can I tell you guys an album I was truly disappointed by, though, that I was anticipating?
Yeah.
Was that Ty Dolla $ign album.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I've loved
You talking
Ty
about the
Dolla $ign
features
music
one?
since. Yep.
Oh
Yeah, like I've loved his music since I heard Beach House back in like 2011, 2012. Like I've just like, he has one of the best singing voices I've ever heard in life. And like my wife and I were talking about this, and his album felt like they were just a bunch of songs for other people that he just threw together on an album for the most part. Like there are songs on there that I like, but
I think his problem is that he tries to give you too many tracks. Like I think if he would cut his content down to like 10 or 11 tracks, his projects will fare much better. But he dropping like 18. Like it's hard for R&B to drop 18 to 20 tracks and captivate the audience's attention. Like I think he needs to slim his shit down some more.
My one critique about Jukebox last year from Mac Ayers was that there was too many tracks on it. Like it should have stopped after track 12, and he should have left the other stuff either be bonus or like put it on the EP or something. But yeah, it's very hard to keep someone's attention for that long. All right, Joe, you hopping off, or you gonna stay on while we go through ours?
I'm gonna stay on if you guys want me.
Yeah. You free to stay on, man.
Always some good Joe Code commentary. All right, so did everybody go through their honorable mentions?
Yeah, we got honorable mentions out the way, so we can hop into the list now.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and get started. So we're gonna just name off our 10 through 6, and then we'll go in depth on our 5. So number 10, I had Her Songs. Her Songs is a group of 5 women musicians who got together last year in Toronto for 7 days, and they just decided to record a couple of projects. So it's Emily Browning, Mary Dahlstrom, Danny Murica, The Naked Eye, and Emma V, and they dropped 2 EPs this year, both called Toronto, about 5 songs each on them, and I thoroughly enjoyed those. Deontay Hitchcock, Better at 9, Men I Trust, Forever Live Sessions, Braxton Cook, Fire Sign at 7, and then 6, Xavier Omar, If You Feel.
All right, so Sophie, go and take it next.
All right, at 10, I got Benny the Butcher, Burden of Proof. At 9, I got 2 Chainz, So Help Me God. At 8, I have Big Sean, Detroit 2. At 7, I have Currency and Harry Fraud, The Outrunners. And at 6, I have Lil Uzi Vert, Eternal Attacking.
You could see my reaction to the Big Sean, but you already know my feelings on that.
But I just feel like with the Big Sean, like the shit that he's talking about, like I relate to what he's talking about. Like, so I fuck with the Big Sean, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Can I ask you something about the 2 Chainz? Because I was really looking forward to that, and I think that suffers again for being too long. Like, what was it about that?
Honestly, the production, because 2 Chainz doesn't really do anything that's any different from what he's doing. But it was between that and the Recession, and I just felt like the 2 Chainz was better. It was a little more reflective. It felt a little bit more personal than the Recession. Like the Recession was cool. I just felt the 2 Chainz was a little bit better. It caught me by surprise, honestly, because I wasn't expecting nothing from it, and then I heard it. I'm like, oh shit, this 2 Chainz kind of straight through for me. Damn, he missed that.
All right. So yeah, I'll go through my 10 through 6 now. Before I listened to this album, I actually had an honorable mention that could still probably fit into my 10, but it's actually a band that I actually, for some reason, I hate the front man. I hate the front man, but at the same time, like I like the music he makes. So he's very clearly trying to be like a Morrissey or Ian Curtis, like the Brit pop guys from like the 80s, but it's the 1975 Notes on a Conditional Form. They were knocked off by Mayor Hawthorne, Rare Changes. I listened to that today, gave it one quick spin. Like AJ and I was saying earlier, the first few tracks start off slow, but it hits a vibe around track 4 and then picks up from there. And the back half of the album is only 9 tracks, but the back half of the album is really good. So that's my number 10. It was it knocked off the 1975 album. My number 9 is Bodie James, The Price of Tea in China. I've always liked Bodie James, but he just sounds right over Alchemist production. Like it just sounds right. Number 8, Lil Uzi Vert, Internal Attack. Number 7, Dion Hitchcock, Better. I've always liked Dion Hitchcock, but this is the album I feel like where he's like arrived. He still has like a reputation as like a YouTube rapper, but I think this is the album where he says like, nah, I'm legit. I'm here. So number 6, Tame Impala, The Slow Rush. This is an album you could just put on and there's a vibe all the way through. So that's my 10 through 6.
Chuck, that Mayor Hawthorne like literally came out on Friday. So
Yep.
Yeah, it's not something that was like out for like Asher Roth dropped an album in like March or some shit and no one knew about it. Like you're not that album.
Right.
you're not there. Like it literally, I happened to be on Tidal and it was like Mayor Hawthorne has a new album. I was like, oh fuck it, I'll listen to it.
And I wouldn't have known until AJ told me. So yeah. AJ had to tell me. Yeah.
So it's not like it was heavily promoted. All right, so I'll get into my number 5. I have Benny the Butcher, Burden of Proof. I don't really know if there's much to say about this album. I mean, it's just Benny rapping his ass off over dope production about coke and killing motherfuckers. Simple staple in hip hop that's easy to fuck up, but he manages to do it well. So I've seen it enough that I ain't really much to go into about it. It's good ass rapping.
Yeah, that's my number 5, and I would just say like you can tell that this was clearly like Reasonable Doubt influenced because the entire phrases, the burden of proof and Reasonable Doubt, like that's a whole phrase. But yeah, that's my number 5 too. So we'll just jump the feet.
My number 5 is The Weeknd, After Hours. I feel like as far as R&B and pop music goes, The Weeknd is probably the most consistent person out there. I don't feel like he's ever really put out a bad project. I think he was snubbed on the Grammys, with Blinding Lights for Song of the Year. I just think it's a good project, one of the better projects of 2020.
All right. My number 4 is both a member of the Barbershop Podcast and the legendary R&B group Boys to Men, Sean Stockman, Forward. I was not expecting to like this album. I almost didn't listen to it when I saw that the shit had dropped, but I decided to give it a listen because one thing about 90s R&B dudes is they rarely ever make good music post 2010. It doesn't happen. Like it's hard for them. They either sound like they're trying to keep up with the kids, or it sounds like a dated version of the stuff that they've already put out. But Sean manages to put out an album that is both true to his 90s roots and doesn't sound dated. It is something I've listened to like almost more than any other album that I have on my list. Like I said, was not expecting to like this shit, but really, really good. It came out in April. I discovered it in October, November. I don't even know how it popped up.
Yeah, you popped in the group. You was like, "Hey, man, Sean Stockton dropped the album, and it's not bad." Yeah, I was just like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
And then, like, as I listened to it, I was like, "Damn, this shit is actually fire! Like, it's actually like a dope ass album." Like, I was listening to it earlier today at work. Like, it's a really good album. Like, If you enjoy the old school R&B feel, fuck with it. Also, he has a Raphael Sadiq produced track, so it's always gonna be
okay.
Always gonna be fire.
So, Fee, you want to go next, or you want me to take it?
What we doing? Number 4.
Yeah, number 4.
Number 4, I got Starlito, Paternity Leave. Starlito is my favorite rapper, so I'm kind of biased, but I think Paternity Leave was a great album, a more mature album. Starlito, he was focusing on current issues, but he also just had a child, so I could kind of relate to the feelings he had when you have your first child. It kind of changes the way you think, changes the people you hang around, changes your mentality as a man. It kind of grows you up. So, like a lot of the tracks on there, I just felt on a more personal level. So that's why I have it so high, my top 5. And he's also rapping at a high level for underground niggas. So
we reviewed that earlier this year, didn't we? Because that was the song with Girl Dad on it, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Girl Dad is one of my favorite joints of the year. I actually really fuck with that song.
All right, so my number 4, Picture It, Simpler Times, 2011, 2012.
I thought the artist was Picture and the album was called Simpler Times.
No, that's actually a fire artist and album name though. But back before this dude was like, hey, instead of like putting my influences out there, I just keep them to myself. One day I logged onto October's Very Own, or wherever the name of the blog was, Drake's blog, and I saw a video by Sampha. We know who Sampha is, and Jessie Ware. So I checked out Jessie Ware. I was like, okay, she's really dope. Like she's in the same vein as like an Adele, like that same type of like British songstress, like really great singer. But I feel like she's never gotten her shine because she's been kind of in the shadows. But she dropped one of the best albums this year. She invokes like 70s and 80s like disco vibes, and she has a very soulful voice. So it's Jessie Ware, What's Your Pleasure? Listen to it. Like I said, if you like the whole like Donna Summers type disco vibe, like you really like it. So check that out.
I just added that to my list. All right. My number 3 is kind of cheating. I mean, it's not, but it's kind of cheating because he dropped 2 projects in the span of
Chuck knows.
He dropped 2 projects in the span of 2 weeks. He had my number 2 album of 2017. Is the best rapper that I have heard that I wasn't aware of before 2010. He's the best rapper I've heard since 2010 that I wasn't aware of before that point. It is Sean Smith, Till Death Do Us Art / Self-Portrait. Till Death Do Us Art was the official release of his EP, which he was allowed to release it on streaming services. Self-Portrait, he only dropped on SoundCloud because he didn't want to clear the samples, but I consider them a joint package because they dropped 2 weeks apart. And I mean, if you've heard me talk about Sean Smith before, you know that he is like the rapper that I thought I was going to be when I was like 19. Incredible pen. And now, like, the thing I like about Till Death Do Us Art is he's actually like expanding out his song making range. Whereas before it was just super lyrical heavy. Now he's coming from the standpoint of an artist and actually trying to make music that people enjoy while still rapping at a high level. So, just watching his growth from Sink or Swim to now, him dropping those 2 projects is I keep those in rotation. On you, Fee.
We'll be at number 3.
Yeah, number 3.
Number 3, I have Deontay Hitchcock Better. I just discovered him when y'all told me about this album. I went and listened to it, and this is actually one of my favorite albums of 2020. The only song I really don't like is "Give Me Your Money" on this album. The relationship shit that he talks about, the "I Got Money Now," like it's a very relatable middle class album to me. Like if you've been broke and now you get money, you have relationship issues, like you can relate to this album. And I love the features on it. I love the JID feature. I love the Black feature. I love the Miguel feature. He's bigging up fucking Black women on Growing Up and Mother God.
Like songs of the year.
I really Circles is my favorite song on the album because it's like I have I have baby mother, so I understand about going round and round with the woman and you trying to establish yourself as a man in a new career. You want them to support you. They're not fucking with you because you're moving up. They think you got new hoes, but you just want a very relatable album. Like if you've been broke and now you're getting money, you relate to the album. I think it's one of the better projects of the year. Very relatable to me, like I said. So I enjoyed the album. It was number 3 for me. And he's doing all this with his he has good content and he's rapping at a high level. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that at all. And if I feel like the more I listen to the album, it's gonna creep higher and higher up my list. So like if we were to go back and to review our list this year at this time next year, I feel like it'll be much higher on my list. So yeah, I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah, growing up, Mother God is seriously one of the best songs I've heard. Like in the last,
amazing.
It's fucking insane. Like that song is fucking
Shadow
great.
Man, like Shadow Man's interlude. Like the only thing is bad is the one song. I can't remember. I just named it.
What was it? Give Me Your Money.
Yeah, give me your money is terrible. That's the only thing that keeps it from being number 1 on my list, honestly.
Yeah, and I ain't listening to the Young Nudie joint either because I'm not listening to Young Nudie. But Deontay's verse was actually fire on that. But yeah, one of the best albums that I've heard. Ghost 3760. Thank you for tuning in to us. The kind of music that we typically listen to is hip hop, R&B, that type of thing. But we listen to everything. Ronnie had a 1975 album in his honorable mention. Last year, Issues Beautiful Oblivion was in my honorable mention. So just kind of depends. We listen to it all. Well, except country. I don't think anybody here fucks with country.
Yeah, nobody here listens to country. And I say out of once again, shout out Ghost 3760 for checking in. I think I listened to like the most rock out of all of us, but I don't think there was anything because just like the rappers, like I feel like the big rock groups like took some time off this year, so there wasn't anything worth mentioning. Last year there was some great rock. I feel like one of my favorite old bands, Brand New, dropped an album that I really enjoyed last year. So yeah, we listen to different things here. But my number 3, and this rarely happens. Like when I throw dirt on a rapper and I'm about to bury him, I never excavate that coffin. He's usually buried and gone for good. This is a rapper I used to really, really like. I thought he was going to be the one, but he has some interesting career choices. But with this tape, he addresses basically the trajectory of his career.
Who the hell you're talking about?
Vic Mensa, the V-Tape, one of the best projects of the year, because he addresses all of that. Like he talks about what happened. Yeah, he talks about how his career got off track. He's very honest and open about it. There's a track the last track on the album. It starts off one way, and then at the end, it's like him singing at the end, and it's like really soulful. It's like really good. And he dropped a visual project along with this. So go to YouTube and just watch the V-Tape videos. It's like really super long videos that serve as a compliment to the album itself. But yeah, Vic Mensa, the V-Tape, he's back to rapping. It's really good. It's only 7-8 tracks. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah, no, it's really, it's like internet tape Vic Mensa, but more mature. Like he's rapping at that level.
Can I say I thought you were going to say Dom Kennedy?
Oh no, I listened to that Dom Kennedy album. I was like,
because I wanted to listen to that $500,000, and I was just like, this is awful. Like he has fallen so far off.
Bro, I don't understand. Like it seems like he keeps trying to recreate the Yellow album, but he just ain't got it, because the Yellow album is up here. Everything else is on the ground, bro. Like it's terrible.
There are rappers that try to chase that. Like you have two pretty big examples of trying to chase their big break. Is Drake was So Far Gone, and he just eventually said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna just steal from every artist that I mentor." And J. Cole with Warm Up, and he actually, in my opinion, did it with 2014 Forest Hills Drive, and he ain't had shit to rap about since.
Yeah.
Like he finally caught that ghost and did what he was trying to do, and then it's like, well, shit, what do I do now? And yeah, it's never a good sign when an artist is trying to chase that. That's why I hate sequel albums. Sequel albums are rarely good.
Rarely ever. Yeah.
Like it rarely.
You know what I wish what more artists did is take the currency approach, is like just get with one producer and just get them back with that producer. Like you can get a Chick song, I Got Money song, or whatever. You can just do all that shit with one producer, and you don't have to chase a fucking vibe. That producer is going to give you everything you want, and your project is going to have a sound and a direction. That producer is going to keep you where you need to be. But too many artists only drop one project a year, and they're all over the fucking place with it.
And that's why I think that Gibbs project is so good to me, because that's what Alchemist did. Alchemist gave him every single thing that you could think of on that album.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely got to listen to that. My number 2 is this dropped at the very beginning of the year, and I listened to it, forgot about it, came back to it during quarantine. I thought he was going to drop something fresh off of the New Edition movie, because the man's Spectre was so high, but Luke James, To Feel Loved. Man's put his foot in the album. It's 9 tracks. The only song I don't fuck with is the one at the very end, because they got this fake Sampha motherfucker on there singing. But yeah, a verse by Big Crit that I love on Traveling. You Go Girl with BJ the Chicago Kid, where it's basically like them flipping Martin references. Phenomenal album. It would have been my number 1 if I wasn't cheating for my number 1.
Yeah, man. Luke, when it comes like the best of like one of the best voices in R&B, like out of like the current dudes, like it's really nobody saying him. So I'm gonna check that out. I know you mentioned it before. I haven't gotten around to it. I really want him to do well and succeed. So I'm gonna check that out. Yeah. All right, Fee, what you got for your number 2?
My number 2 is it dropped at the end of 2019 last year, but I think I already did y'all album of the year show. So I have Roddy Ricch, Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial. It's one of my favorite albums. My homeboy Kyle actually told, because he knows I like A Boogie. So he was like, yo, if you like A Boogie, you'll fuck with this Roddy Ricch album. I think Roddy Ricch is everything in an artist that the new generation encompasses. He has the melodies, and he also raps well.
Okay. So my number 2 is a rapper I've really liked, but much like I've said, like just to encompass this year, like I've typically like a few of his tracks here and there, like and also make this comparison, like when it comes to the collective, he's like the Quavo of his collective. He's like the front man. He's basically the spokesperson, the energy, but he's not exactly the best rapper. But to me, with this album, this is easily his best project that he's put together, and it takes all of like the different things that he likes. He's into fashion, he's into coke rap. So it's Westside Gunn, Pray for Paris. Pray for Paris is a really, really, really dope album. It's funny because he shows like versatility on this album, because he has like chick tracks like with French Toast, but the hook is so funny because he still.
I mean, a song called French Toast. I mean,
yeah. But right, so it's a really dope album. So yeah, Pray for Paris is my number 2.
Fee, what was your number 2? Sorry, Andrew.
Roddy Ricch, Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial.
Okay. All right, my number 1. I'm glad Joe's here, because Joe could actually speak to this album just as much as I can. It actually dropped the day we did the album of the year show last year. That's when it hit SoundCloud, and it didn't hit streaming services till like 2 weeks after that. So it came out last December. But this is Huntsville, Alabama's own Wade Brown, Food at the House, Volume 1. The best song I've heard in the last year since I heard it, Gryffindor. And this album is like, this is an album you just put on and you can do whatever. You can work, you can ride in the car with it. You can have somebody over, you can cook dinner to it, you can clean the crib. This album is versatile. Wade is one of the most talented dudes out. And again, showing that Alabama's music scene is so slept on.
Yeah, let me interject, man. You know how you have like your local guys that they're like goods, and you want to spread the news about them because like it's like they're good. So you like want people to like, okay, this is what's going on the scene. Wade Brown is legit good though. Like Wade Brown, like this is the hype with Wade Brown. Like Wade Brown is like legit talented he does the rapping and singing thing better than most people I've heard. Because most singers like you could rap okay, but no, if he wanted to just rap, he could do that as well.
Just listen to Gryffindor.
Then the production, like Wade Brown is legit dope. Check him out, Huntsville, Alabama, and yeah, Alabama. We got some talent here.
I mean, go ahead, Joe.
I was just gonna say I tweeted this and he retweeted me saying that he hoped it would happen, but I want him and Big Crit on a song. I think that would be a phenomenal record.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah,
as much grief as I give Big Crit, like I actually do acknowledge that he is super duper talented, and when he gets on songs with certain artists, like they sound dope. Like Food at the House and Coffee is also dope, and he also dropped Prescription Lens this year. I didn't like Prescription Lens as much. It was more of like a woke conscious joint, but it's still dope. But yeah, Food at the House is just like him at his best, both rapping and singing. There's like not a skip on there for me, except that little microwave interlude when that dude started doing the poetry. I always skip that shit. But the first half of that fire. But yeah, Wade is like Gryffindor. Anyone I've ever let hear Gryffindor has immediately turned their head and been like, yo, what the fuck is this? Because somebody shouldn't be rapping that good about Harry Potter puns, then turning around and singing.
That's how I discovered him, was because you put him on that podcast that you had me on, and I heard it and I was like, who in the fuck is this person?
Like, yeah, that's one of the best songs I've ever heard. Like it's that fire. Like it's that fire. But yeah, Wade Brown, man, shouts to him. But between Food at the House and Club Monster, those are two of my favorite like releases in the past 5 years, like in projects that constantly get play from me because they are that good. What you got for your number one?
My number one is Lil Baby, My Turn. With the deluxe, I feel like for me, 2020 was a big come up year as far as medical. So I feel like this album literally narrated my year from me being a staff nurse to start travel nursing and watching my income increase. And Lil Baby, before, never really paid him much mind. Didn't really think he was that great of a rapper. He actually stepped it up as a rapper. He's making good songs. In my personal opinion, I think My Turn is straight through. The features are not wasted. I also think he is going to birth the next mainstream star in 42 Dugg with this album, because Grace and We Paid are two of the top songs of the year off this album. To me, it's the best album of the year in 2020. I will come back to it. I looked at my how much music I listened to on Apple Music. Lil Baby had 55 hours, and this is the only album I listened to. So you can tell how much time I spent listening to this album. So Lil Baby for me is number one in 2020.
He has a similar trajectory as Young Thug, where it's like you don't really care about them at first, but then they do something and they've taken off.
He reminds me of Lil Wayne. He had a lot of dope features this year. Like I'll be checking his Instagram and YouTube, and I will see the features, and like whatever he's on, he's like still in the show. Like his features, he's like, I don't know, whatever it is about him, he's just captivating. Like even him getting in the scandal with the fucking porn star Miss London, and then 3 weeks later after that, he's in a scandal with fucking Tiana Trump. Like 3 weeks later, like he's captivating from his music to the shit that's going on in his personal life. So he has a fan out of me, and he dropped the album in the deluxe. The deluxe didn't take away from the album. His deluxe actually added to the album, which is a rarity in hip hop.
Look, I respect a man who supports independent contractors. So shout out to him. my number one. This should come as no surprise. Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist, Alfredo. Freddie Gibbs, AJ, you were getting at something earlier. You were like you recognize that Freddie Gibbs is a technical rapper, but there's always been like a little disconnect. And to me, Freddie Gibbs, like every project, like he's always rapping his ass off, but it's very rare that he puts it like all together on a project. But to me, this is his best project. Like even over like Bandana, even over like anything else he's done in the past, because I feel like he becomes more versatile on this. Like he has a song with like Tyler the Creator, and it like doesn't sound like off-putting at all. So it's like I think this is like his, and I know it might be sacrilegious considering he has 2 projects with Madlib, but I feel like this is his best project.
I knew we were in for something great when he said he's traveling around like Michael Jordan with the cocaine circus. Like I knew we were in for greatness. Yes. And that Tyler verse is probably the verse of the year.
But I want to introduce what I funny that you mentioned that, because I want to introduce my verse of the year, which is on the same album, Benny the Butcher's verse, and I have a performance. He says, "Bury me with ratchets, let the feds tell it. Apparently a Magnum, Gucci hoodie." He said, "Gucci hoodie smelling like kerosene and ashes. Don't get carried away. I've been locked up. And look how carefully I stack it. Got your advance check buried in the mattress with the Yankees run on the pennant run. You needed soldiers, heard you rented some, telling war stories, and you ain't been to none." Like he just goes off, and then he says, "I rock 2 of everything," and he just goes and like lists off like Benny the Butcher is like, "Nah, man, this is my track for now." But yeah, that the Alchemist and Freddie Gibbs Alfredo is the best. Yeah, it's my number 1 album of the year.
All right, so we think we got enough data to say like what would be like the consensus. I think we got like a consensus top 3. It's got to be like between Butcher, Gibbs, and what the Weeknd.
So I've heard Butcher and Gibbs the most.
Yeah, like that's got to be
Butcher Gibbs and Butcher Gibbs and the Weeknd.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't give any thought to verse of the year. One of my favorite ones is definitely Sean Smith on Stevie Wonder. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna quote lines, but yeah, just go listen. It's on SoundCloud. Go listen to it.
I might be cheating, but I think my best verse of the year, and because it's really like the song doesn't have a hook, so it's really just him just going off Black Thought, Black versus Everybody. He was all the way in his bag on that one. Just
my verse of the year is 42 Doug on We Paid, because he just starts it off. Before I go broke like Doc, fuck with that dog like Vic, not that rock that pick. Come on, man. that shit is so memorable. It's so ignorant, bro. Because Little Jock is really not broke, bro. But
Young Jock,
you see him on Love and Hip Hop, you automatically assume that he's broke, bro. So that shit just captivates you right off before I go broke like Jock. Fuck with that dog like Vic, not that rock that pick.
I tell you my one single favorite line of the year. Like Sada Baby, where he said Coochie baby cry like Coochie baby cry like Herb and the turtleneck. Because it's like a video like G Herb a birthday cake at the club.
Yeah, when he got the chain from his grandmama,
he got the chain, and he started crying because he had Coochie baby cry like Herb and the turtleneck.
Dope.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Actually, my favorite verse of the year. Let me change that. It's that Kimi Casanova nigga.
Oh yeah, he would.
Because that shit is just incredible. Yes. That nigga on the fraternity. I'm a big stepper. That's
like
I'm a light this a filament. Slip your disc. I'm a krillin it. I ain't feeling it. Yeah. He gave too many bars. Joe, you got any candidates for verse of the year off the top of your head?
I mean, for me, it's that Tyler verse, because I just love the way that he said, like, he started it off talking about like this shit sound like the yacht that I ain't bought yet, and then he weaved it all the way back around at the very end. I thought that was very like clever, because he went in and started talking about a bunch of other stuff. But for me, it's Stove God. Stove Jesus, I was cooking for 3 days, and then it rose up out the pot. Hope was on the box.
Hope was on the box. Had to watch the brick of his sins. Just the imagery of somebody attempting to watch the brick of their sins. It's so
like you know how we made a meme of the Pope. Like just imagine like Stove guy with like the brick in his hands and
just thoroughly cleansing it.
And whip it and dish it like Ricky Rubio, like go like that whole like second part of that Bubba Chuck record. Was
I dish it left hand like Ginobili. Come on, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. Shout out to Soul God Cooks, man. I hope his album lives up to what he did on to what he did on that.
I heard
Soul God is our 6th man of the year.
All right, before we acknowledge what Ryan just said, our boy Smooth Side said Moneybag Yo said something. Talking all throughout. That's his verse of the year. Yes, Ryan. We were talking about Kimi Casanova.
Kimi Casanova. I just want to say.
Oh no, go ahead, Ryan.
I was gonna say. I just want to say that I appreciate what he gave us with that song. I went back and actually heard some of his music, and that is an artist that I hope we get big things from in 2021. That's all I want to say. I was gonna cite a favorite verse, but I was trying to go through my old trying to go through stuff and see what I like. But then I heard Kimi Casanova, and I just had to jump in here and say that I appreciate it. Thank you for what you gave us, because we did not deserve.
Did you see the 85 South?
Yes.
Raps. Okay. Yeah. All right. I was gonna say he got more in there. That's like an out of nowhere thing.
Shout out to Jackson, Mississippi. They got the sneaky good music scene. My little brother lives there, so he's like in touch with what's going on there. But somebody who really shined during the quarantine is this rapper named Dear Silas. Like he basically takes videos that goes viral and drops freestyles over them. So shout out to Dear Silas and this Akeem Ali guy. He's also from Jackson, Mississippi. So yeah, Jackson, Mississippi is trying to do some things. Shout out to them.
Oh no, what I was gonna say, I seen Joe's tweet earlier, the most improved being Stove Got Cooks. I would like to combat that with Little Baby because I think that his like him coming to the forefront of the mainstream, I do think that him and Roddy Ricch will be leading the next generation of mainstream rappers. I think Little Baby is kind of on a Lil Wayne run similar to before he dropped the Carter 3 features wise and with his project wise, like what he's doing in this pandemic. I think he went double platinum mainstream wise, but he's still putting out good content to me. I think I would say that Lil Baby is the most improved rapper because before this, honestly, Gunna was better than him, and Gunna is trash, to say the least. Like I think that
that's a shit.
Look at me started. No, but I think I know how you feel about Gunna, but I do think that Little Baby was underneath Gunna. Now I think Little Baby is above Gunna, and I think he's rapping at a higher level than Gunna. So I would say that Little Baby is the most improved and also the MVP of 2020.
The only thing I'll say to that is Gunna is pretty bad. So like Little Baby get better than him ain't as big a leap as you might think.
But that's why I'm saying that he's the MVP because he like on his features, he had Future, Lil Wayne, Moneybag Yo. Those are down south rappers, but those people are pretty popular in the mainstream down south. And he didn't lose. Lil Uzi Vert was also on his album. He didn't lose on any feature. Like the features didn't take away from his album. They were just a compliment to what he was doing on his album. So I do think that he was the MVP and also the MIP of 2020.
Yeah, but he ain't cleansed a brick of his hands, man.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He ain't parted like Moses.
No, he wasn't cooking for 3 days and it rolls out the pot. My hole was on the box. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, man. Like that's hard to combat. Like Stove God Cooks. Like
I will say though, Little Baby be flowing. Like Little Baby just be like flowing. Like he raps for hours on end. Like, and I would find it entertaining.
Like he definitely has one of those flows that he don't let the beat breathe, and it's not a lot of wasted movement in doing so. Like I do find that impressive when rappers can do that, because in all of the things I was good at with rapping, that wasn't one of them. The beat took a lot of breaths while I was while I was rapping. The beat had plenty of wiggle room.
Hey, the producer definitely gonna get his shit off when I'm rapping.
Yeah,
I'm not rapping that fast. I'm not putting that many syllables in my bars, bro.
Yeah, I'm not eating the track. I'm not Pac-Man in the track. Like I'm like Kyle Anderson. I'm very smooth with the ball in my hands. You don't realize until I get to the never mind, because he kind of bad. That might have people thinking I'm trash at rapping. You get what I'm saying. Yeah. I wasn't that guy so I do find it very impressive when with someone like that, because like I said, we had the discussion on him when people were talking about like he destroyed the track. And I'm like, all right, well, what do y'all mean? And in ways he did. Like, yes, he's definitely one of those rappers that gets on a beat and he will use every single, like if you've ever seen a waveform, if you've ever edited waveforms, like Lil Baby's one of those dudes where when his vocals come in on the beat, he definitely ain't giving the beat no breathing room on the top end. He ain't giving it no spaces. He is utilizing every part of the beat that he paid for.
And there's a difference too, because Big Sean started doing that where he just raps and doesn't let the beat breathe. But it's more noticeable with Lil Baby, because I think a lot of it too is Lil Baby's voice. He has a very unique voice. Yeah. And so that with the flow mixed together, it kind of stands out more than anybody else who's ever tried doing that.
Yeah, because you can rap and not let the beat breathe, but that don't necessarily mean it's gonna be good.
Right.
So like, yeah, it's very like Kendrick is good at that. Kendrick is good at attacking the beat and not letting the beat breathe when he wants to. So it's not everybody is good at that. Like Eminem be attacking the beat, not letting the beat breathe, but that shit don't be good a lot of times nowadays. Like it'd be technically good.
He'd be dropping some stinkers, yeah.
Who the hell is Cartel 937? Who is that?
Ain't no telling.
We finna have some dating beef out here.
Nah, it's no beef, bro. I know
I ain't been home in 6 years, but when I go, I would like to, not have niggas mad at me.
Nah, it's no beef, no disrespect. It's me, Mario. Ain't no telling who that is, bro.
I ain't see this me at first. I'm like, who the fuck is we knew a Mario? And then I saw this me. All right. Yeah. Got me there. All right. We got anything else?
No, I think that's it. We just plug the lineup for tomorrow and Wednesday.
Yeah. Before we do that, make sure y'all follow our boy Joe at Joe Code Roman numeral 2. He is out here giving y'all free game on a weekly, monthly, however often basis. It's free game though. Google Analytics, all that type stuff that most people would charge you to do. But make sure you fuck with his Patreon if you want to get early access to that stuff and support somebody who's actually out here trying to help artists. Like most people are trying to screw artists. He's actually trying to help artists. Make sure you do that. You got anything else to plug, Joe?
No, that's it. No, next week, this was the last newsletter for the year. I'm probably going to do one. I'm probably going to take a couple weeks off because I'm off from Christmas to the 4th for my day job. So I'm going to take some time to relax and then get it started up again. But I'm going to do like a Clubhouse talk on next Wednesday. So kind of like teach artists how to like plan, how to like get going up in 2021 and things that they should be like starting to learn how to do and stuff. So I think it's going to be like next Wednesday at like 8:30.
Okay, cool. Make sure y'all check that out on Clubhouse. Tomorrow, on last week's episode, Ronnie will continue his podcast run, and they will be discussing their 10 best TV shows of the year. And then Ryan will be doing, with I'm sure in a whole assortment of guests, we'll be doing just a wrap up of the clusterfuck that was 2020. Ryan, since you're back in here, you can tell the people what you're doing.
Yeah, on Wednesday, I will pour whatever energy I have left between now and January 5th and recapping all of the shit that happened in politics this year. So we will touch on everything from I don't even remember what happened at the beginning of the year. Everything from that to the Rona to
murder hornets
to why the fifth is important. It'll probably end up in several rants about just the stimulus package and people needing better understanding of their civics classes, and the same thing who tell us that they mad that they people ain't teaching personal finance because they got their math test handed to them upside down.
And
like somebody, like your teacher folded it to hand it to you.
Yeah, stop reading them books with no barcodes and then coming on the timeline talking shit.
Like,
I'm tired of y'all doing
that.
that.
I want people to understand something, okay? A lot of us have kitchen table level knowledge of things, and that's fine to acknowledge. We have a base understanding to where we can have a conversation about certain things, and that's good. You should do that, but please don't come like an expert about things where that's all you have the information about. Okay, a good friend of mine, or somebody who's now a good friend of mine, who just won a statewide office here, is more apt to talk about biology and research and immunology than I am. So if I were to tweet something about COVID and then she comes back and says, no, that's not true, and corrects me, I'm going to say, I did not know that. Thank you for teaching me. I'm not going to argue with somebody who literally holds a doctorate in immunology. Okay. So I just want to make that point. Please do that yourself. Okay. Just please have some rhyme or reason about yourself and understand what your limits and what your blind spots are. That's all I want to say.
Right. So yeah, that'll be Don't Call It a Podcast. The wrap up mostly focused on politics, but I'm sure it'll be some other shenanigans on there. There's always shenanigans whenever the Kids Wear Crowns are involved. Yeah,
those off the rails.
Of course, and I'm sure Courtney will be drinking wine and say something crazy. Ryan has just dipped out again. Yeah, that's it. Check us out, kidswearcrowns.com.
You need me back?
Oh, nah. I was just saying you dipped out. At some point before the year is out, I will drop my best of the rest of 2020, which I've done for the past 2 years. I will give you guys just random favorites of things that 2017 I did my or 2018 I did my 10 best albums that didn't make it, and then last year I just did my 10 favorite musical things of the year. I'll do some combination of that this year. It'll be random shit like favorite Coke bar of the year, favorite song title of the year. Yeah. What do you
also hold on? I typically drop like my favorite movies of the list, favorite movies of the year list, but we only got Tenet. So, but there is one movie that which wasn't good. But I feel like there is one movie that any other year would have been my top movie of the year. So I'm gonna do a write up about that. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but yeah, it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. So, but yeah, so I'm gonna do a write up about that. It'll likely come next week.
Fee, what you up there plugging?
Oh, bro, I'm in the Madden League. Y'all can follow me on Twitch at Fee Baby. I be
listening to cuss people out.
Yeah, we play 2K. We play Rainbow Six Siege. Other than that, I have nothing going on. 2021, I may get into podcasting. You never know.
We got the infrastructure for it.
I want to add something.
What's up, man? What you adding?
Hey, make sure we about to start. We've technically started, but I haven't figured out all the bugs in it yet. We have started a main podcast feed. Be on the lookout from our Twitter account when it's ready to drop. What I mean by that is this. You have heard on this program that we have several mini podcasts that are part of this network. And one thing that we're trying to do is find one space where you can take a sample of all of them and decide whether or not you want to be a part of what they have to offer. Do you like politics? Do you want to hear what Don't Call This a Podcast has to say, but you're not trying to subscribe to the whole feed right away? Well, subscribe to the main podcast line, the Kids Wear Crowns Podcast Network, and sample everything. We're also going to play around with random one-off series, random one-off podcasts that we'll do, or mini series that we'll do, that will post in that feed as well. So
an example of this is if you follow WAG on Twitter, WAG will be telling 7-minute stories like the time he got banned from Checkers in Tuscaloosa. And if you know anything about WAG, you know that will be completely fucking hilarious. There you go.
If you don't know anything about WAG, I need you to understand that a man got banned from a Checkers in Tuscaloosa. Like, can't go through the drive-through, can't go to the walk-up. So I just want you to be prepared for what that story is.
A very large man who at the same time resembles Jason Peters, Idris Elba, and Gerald Levert.
Yes, all at once.
all at the same time. He looks like all three of them niggas.
We will have a mini series that just allows people to tell 7-minute wild ass stories That's coming.
Just don't let Rod on there.
I don't. Well, now I'm have to return the favor because Rod let me on his podcast.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we got to return the favor.
Yeah, I was on his podcast.
I might have tell my Japan stories.
Yes.
I don't. We gonna have to really edit those because you was wild when you was in Japan. We'll have to make sure you don't say nothing that could land us in the hot water.
Okay, that's fine. Down the line, I may have some stories to tell as well as soon as that gets cleared. But yes, no, we need to get Fee on there. We're working on that. I'm trying to reach out to a couple of artists who a couple people that last year I had the chance to interview to bring them back to tell stories. People like Rob Roy and a couple others. So like, yeah, we've got stuff building. Just follow the Twitter account at the KWC blog and be ready when that drops. So as soon as that drops, we're gonna put it up. We'll probably do like a short little promotional video on Twitter. So those of y'all that subscribe to us on Twitter and on Twitch, we'll put some stuff up there for you to know how to follow us. But thanks for the love and support. There's big things coming. We have really been on a takeoff since what? Ron, 2018 is when we hit like the big numbers that 1 year, and it just hadn't slowed down.
Yeah.
All thanks to Bell Biv DeVoe.
Yeah.
Shout out to Patrick. Shout out to the tax man.
And whether or not Jay-Z sold 92 bricks.
That too. Hey, for
Or
real.
lost 92 bricks. Sorry.
I'm gonna plug Patrick right here just because Patrick be taking care of. Patrick got us some huge numbers. So if you need your taxes done virtually, hit up my boy Patrick at Patrick on Twitter.
Pattric.
Yes.
But yeah, somebody shouted out Bad News Dane, who we went to school with. That is a Dayton, Ohio deep cut.
Who was Cartel 937, bro? Stop, cut the shit, bro. Cut the shit.
Like that has to be someone
these niggas,
because don't nobody know about Bad News Dane unless you went to Trotwood.
These niggas you are plugging, bro. These niggas are terrible, nigga. They are.
Come on, man. Come on, bro.
No, bro. They are the worst of the worst at rapping.
One of the best Dayton, Ohio songs of all time. I Get It In by CC Server, Chaos the Community Server. He ends his verse
the
with
community server, bro.
And it's more where that came from. Homie, community server, where you think I got my name from? It's called I Get It In. I get the type in. I get it in. CC Server.
Like Coke Rap, bro. No, I'm gonna post a link in the chat for y'all niggas, bro. He gets it in for y'all, bro.
He gets it in, and that is the hook. I get it in. I get it in, my nigga. I get it in. These bitches always want to hit me like I just came home.
Did we figure out who that was trolling Ron a couple weeks ago?
I never figured out.
I still don't know who the fuck is trolling me. Nelson ain't been here in a minute.
All right, I got bottles to make apparently and get kids.
All right, man. But yeah, that is it. I probably won't be on any more podcasts for the rest of the year. But yeah, check us out. KWC blog. Follow Fee at Fee Fresh, Ron at Ron KWC, Joe at Joe Code, me at 4eyes, IV_EYES. Till next time, 1.